Uh, so let's get to checking with the market for the opening calls for today, the final trading day of the week, but a very important market day for everyone who's watching what the Central Bank of Nigeria will decide as of the MPC. But again, it's not what the central bank does. That matters is what the central bank says. So the central bank governor's Emefiele's speech this afternoon, the minutes of the communique will be keenly watched by everyone on Market Street, even if there are some analysts saying there will be a hold on headline interest rates and other key parameters like the liquidity ratio and cash reserve ratio, as well as the asymmetric corridor, plus or minus. So this is all out there for today. We're covering this live for you from 1:30 in the afternoon here on Channels Television. As always, this is a very critical period for interest rate decisions for central banks around the world. September is a very critical one. So be with us this afternoon with our panelists to chew over a number of issues that will be considered by the MPC and what the decision will be, and of course what will be in Godwin Emefiele's speech. Most important, this decision day for the debt market. That's what Bankole Odusanya would try to take a quick look at us. Bankole Odusanya is joining us via Skype from FMDQ Exchange Place. He's a fixed income dealer at UBA, one of the tier one banks listed on our market. Bankole, good morning. Welcome to the program. This is a bit, I'm sure, if you look at the week so far, are there any indications that the debt market is looking at what will likely be the MPC decisions?
Yes, thank you very much, Bosin. It's been an active week, but largely driven by system liquidity. What has happened is that most of the participants in the market are tight of liquidity, so we've had to see some sell-offs, shed-off of some treasury bills holdings to raise liquidity. Of course, we know that the Federal Allocation Committee has met, and then we know that over 740 billion will be shared between the state and the local governments. This is expected to hit the system next week to, just put in some palliative measure for like a week or two because those funds fizzle out quickly. When it comes to expectations with the MPC, basically, we expect a tightening stance to continue by the central bank. Of course, we have seen the way they've been issuing OMO bills. The central bank has continued to issue they issued 350 billion this week, same with last week, which was 340. The amounts that matured are actually higher than those, but I believe they are keeping an eye on system liquidity also in order to ensure overnight interest rates do not jump to as high as 50 to 100% like we have seen in the past. So it's a fine balancing game being done by the central bank. Basically, we expect that the tight monetary policy will continue. And for this monetary policy meeting being held today, we do not see a major change or shift yet, as the central bank governor and the MPC in itself will probably want to see the direction of where the newly set up economic team will be pointed.
Technically, so once we're done and dusted today, and we start Monday, we're looking at the final trading week, as it were, for the month of a full trading week in September. So what's your playbook for next week in terms of what you expect from the central bank and the debt management office?
Okay, currently it's mixed sentiments because even as I've said earlier that it's a tight market and most of the participants are selling off, some PFAs and other large fund holders are coming in to pick these very attractive yields. Because currently at 13 and 13.5 levels discount rate, the effective yield on treasury bills right now is at 15.6%. And that's very attractive. I mean, so for those who don't have money, they're selling off. For those who have some funds maturing on a weekly basis, they are picking this position. So we expect this to go on into the end of the month. The game will be changed a bit in October because we have a bond maturity. About 233 billion is coming in from October 23rd. So that you expect some bond dealers to be proactive to get very nice yields ahead of time. Take these positions ahead of time. So those are the spaces and points where you find action. Treasury bills on the long end, then some bond positions that are as high as 14.5, basically.
Bankole, you folks are the ones having a nice time as we speak. inflation at 11.02%. Effective yield is 15%. That's close to 4% above inflation. Nice one there. You folks are in good money. It's a nice time to it's a nice time to play the market. So much liquidity around there, and everyone is playing that game. Thank you so much, Bankole. Odusanya, have a great day and enjoy your weekend. I'm sure we'll get together sometime next week to chat with you again from UBA, one of the fixed income dealer. Thank you. Great. Okay, let's check in with Temple Ashaju as we wrap up the show this morning, checking in on the stock market from the stock exchange trading floor. Temple is back and finally on the show for the hour. Thank you, Temple. Welcome back to the program. Are there any major news that the market community is talking about, equities market community, that is? Do you think the MPC is a discussion for them, or everyone is still swarming over the new Doyin Salami's Economic Advisory Council? Almost everyone who is everyone in the business community have congratulated Mr. President and said this is a good one. A Manufacturers Association have issued a two-page statement. Institute of Directors have congratulated Mr. President, says a welcome development. Lagos Chamber of Commerce have done the same. Yesterday, Aliko Dangote also says he commended Mr. President. So it looks like if you check President Buhari's approval rating on business and street right now, I'm sure he's going to be scoring, well, at least above average, above 50%.
To a large extent, Bosin. Thank you for setting the tone of this conversation with all of these backgrounds you just gave, actually. I mean, these are the main reasons why we've seen investors responded positively to the markets for the greater part of this week, which began again from the later part of last week. These are the catalysts that have made the indices of the market, pushed higher, faced northward in recent times, even though we know that we've been seeing a bit of profit taking. All of this news, when you square them up, it translates to what investors really want to see, whether foreign portfolio investors, as we've seen their returns to the markets with the buy interest that we're seeing in recent times. And, of course, what the domestic investors really also want to see. But what we are going to be seeing, and what we've been seeing lately as well, will be a bit of correction on the share prices of these major companies, the tier one banks, the high cap stocks that you have in the market, all the active stocks that have been resting before now are now coming back up. If you look at what the market is painting at this point, we're seeing the like of GT Bank, which touched a high of 30 Naira yesterday, currently back up again, almost hitting 30 Naira. We've seen an addition of 35 kobo to the share price at this point. So today, investors are likely to let things just lie low. They will probably leave the prices the way they are and delay their bit of profit taking until next week, so they can tell, what to do next. Should I increase my holding in some of these companies, or I should go for that to basically, take my profit? Those are the kind of decision that we'll be saying. Stanbic IBTC is another company that is currently in such a region in the hearts of investors at this point in time. But one other thing I should say is that investors have heard all of this news. Now they are waiting for implementation. The Dr. Doyin Salami-led Economic Advisory Council is something that they are really watching. So if he turns out some kind of policy or recommends to the president, how is the president going to implement it? If we're able to see such a response from the federal government, from the fiscal authorities, coupled with the decision of the MPC today, then we will be able to see further buy interest on the part of the domestic investors and foreign portfolio investors today.
Yes, Tempo, thank you so much. What you're going to do is you're going to stand by from 1:30 in the afternoon. The market closes at 2:30 every day, and I'm sure the central bank governor will be speaking from about 2 o'clock or so. So within that space, we're going to get across to you, try to get your sense of how the stock market plays out today, Friday, as MPC decides. We'll touch base with you between 2:30 and 3 o'clock later in the afternoon. Stick around with the rest of your team from the trading floor and get the trading day ready for us. Thank you so much, and we'll get back to you at that point in time. Everyone stand by. 1:30 in the afternoon. We're live to you from here for our special coverage of the Central Bank Monetary Policy Committee meeting decisions and the presentation by the Central Bank Governor, Godwin Emefiele. Of course, he will be asking questions. We're taking questions from journalists. He will provide answers to some of the most critical questions on the street, in particular about the deposit and withdrawal charges that the House of Reps says should be suspended. You expect a bit of fireworks from my colleagues who are live there at the Central Bank headquarters in Abuja. For now, let's hang in there on Business Morning. This show returns to you 10 a.m. on Monday, on 33rd. I'll see you in the afternoon.